Thanks for clicking on Wayne.com as we bring back Inside the Zone Comet style with our man Blake Sebring at the News Sentinel. Blake, glad to have you back for another season here on Inside the Zone.
I can't remember how many this is.
Oh my gosh, it's 5, 6, 7, somewhere around there.
You gotta be getting close to 10, I would think.
The anniversary set is coming out on DVD very shortly. With a director's
The blooper reel is unbelievable.
That's basically the entirety of the disc. Blooper reel, not so much for the Comets this year. They started off pretty well. Let's talk about the first half of the season because we are at the All-Star break this week. What have you seen from the Comets that you've really liked heading forward to this part of the season?
Well, they don't have the affiliation this year. And I guarantee you, if they had the affiliation, they would not be 10, 11, 12 games over 500 right now. With all the injuries that they've had, if they'd had all the call-ups to deal with too, they might be a 500 team right now. You think about, you didn't have Pat Nagel after the first 4 games. You didn't have Gabriel Beaupre after the first 10 games. You haven't had Cody Soul for the last 3 weeks. You haven't had Trevor Cheek or Brady Vale. I don't know that they've ever been in a lineup at the same time because they've been called up. You lose Bobby Shea. Think about this. They are 10 games over 500 right now, essentially, and they have never had Pat Nagel or Bobby Shea or Cody Soul, or they've been missing 3 of their top defensemen and their top goaltender almost every game since the first 2 weeks of the season. That is remarkable. That is astounding. I'm really shocked that they've been able to do that.
What do you chalk that up to? Is it coaching? Is it the knowledge of the guys that they brought back who know the system? Sidlowski, Kyle Thomas, those guys that already knew, okay, here's what it takes to be successful here in Fort Wayne?
Well, I think it's all those things. It's who has taken advantage of their opportunities. Jason Binkley has been a huge surprise. And I don't mean that negatively either. He's just been so much fun to watch him get better month to month. Curtis Leonard, he's like one of the leaders in the league in plus minus. Who expected that ever? But he's legitimate. I mean, he has made himself a career this year, and it's kind of neat to see that. Garrett Bartis came up and played really, really well from the SPHL, and it's like, and now they've got PJ Musica who's playing well too in goal. I mean, right there is 3 guys you were not necessarily counting on to be leaders who have become leaders, and they played really, really well. And that's fantastic. And Kyle Thomas, you could argue he's the most improved player on the team again.
You mentioned the goaltending situation. That's one of the things I had here to talk about. So where are they? Pat Nagel suffers the high ankle sprain, which we all know those can be tricky, specifically in the game of hockey, specifically for a goalie, the way they have to move. Where is he? Because, last week he's on the ice practicing really in earnest for the first time. What's the time frame for him to get back? And then what do the Comets do when he's healthy, when you've got Musico, who they traded for, and then you've got Bartis, who is – Musico and Bartis have played great hockey so far.
Yes. Here's what I would do. High ankle sprain, Pat's a slow starter. This year he got off to a good start, which was shocking, which we should have expected him to get hurt then, But I would keep 3. I really would, at least for a while. And it's not like there's an obvious, oh, you're gone. You just, sorry you haven't cut it. They've both played really well. I would keep 3 and then give Pat a little more time to ease into it as well with the ankle. And he's going to have good games, bad games. Why not keep 3? Just as an insurance policy, because somebody's going to get hurt or he's going to get called up or something, and so keep 3 if you can. And they can. They have some guys with some flexibility that way. So, and as a timetable, I would say he's probably going to go on the road trip next week. I don't know if he's playing on the road trip. He might. If I was them, I might put him in that game. I think it's Wednesday night in Elmira. No, there's no pressure there. Put him in there, see how he does, and then decide from there. If he's able, and if he's not, you wait, because with a high ankle sprain, if you tweak it, you get set back a month.
Yeah. And
you do it seriously, and then he's out for the year. And then there goes your title chances right there. So, be careful. And they are being extremely careful. Gabe Beaupre, they just found out he's going to be out at least 2 more weeks.
Concussion symptoms,
yes,
right?
Yes, he came back, and he was in practice last week, and he had the symptoms come back. So they're like, whoa, back off. He's off the ice for another week yet. and then they'll see he's got to go back to the doctor, and that's what concussions like his, that's what happens when they're that severe.
You mentioned Bartis and Musica. We've talked about them, but you also mentioned how the fact that they haven't really had their full cast of defensemen this year.
They haven't had their full cast, period.
So, well, specifically on defensemen.
Right.
So how have those guys been able to come in? Because you think without being 100% at full strength or having the type of talent on paper that they should have that are called up or injured, how have they been able to thrive? Because you think, wow, that's a really tough situation.
And that's a great question because nobody pays attention to the defense. We said Jason Binkley, he's been great. Curtis Leonard's been great. The best one of them all, Cody Saul. He has been amazing back there. I mean, when he got hurt, he was leading the league in plus minus. And he was playing heavy minutes. I mean, how many times have you seen Cody leading the rush this year, and you're thinking, oh my gosh, get back, and then he makes something happen that they score. Mm-hmm. He's been great that way, and it's all confidence, too, he's been talking about. Another guy, you just don't notice him because he never makes the mistake, Will Weber. You just take him for granted so much. And Will is such a great player, such a force out there, because he never makes a mistake or he never, really makes a bad error. You just don't notice him, and that's a great thing for a defenseman.
It's like being an offensive lineman in football. You only get noticed for the most part. When you make a mistake, there's a holding
or a tight end when you drop the ball. That's it.
Right.
I mean, yeah. And Will's better than that. I mean, Will is that good.
Speaking of guys who are playing well, Sean Sedlowski, he's an all-star. Give us an update on that, because it sounds like he is going to be able to play in the game despite being called up to the now, formerly Lake Erie, now Cleveland Monsters.
Yeah, I talked to him today. He's going to get to go. This was Cleveland's idea. Sean, when I talked to him yesterday, says, I'm not bringing it up with him. So I have a feeling the league, the ECHL, probably got a hold of Cleveland and said, hey, can we have him, for Wednesday? And if he wasn't going to go, Kyle Thomas was going to go, which was really cool because when I told Sean a couple weeks ago that he got picked for the starter, he's like, well, what about Kyle Thomas? Because it's always a prospect game. And it's like totally legitimate. Kyle's playing great. He's fourth in the league in scoring. So, but yeah, Sean's thrilled. He's looking forward to it. He wasn't going to ask about it at all, but he's pretty happy to be going.
Speaking of Kyle Thomas, what has allowed him to thrive? Because we saw him, a couple years ago, and he kind of earned another chance the following year, and now last year he took advantage of that chance, and this year he's taken another step up. How has the process for Kyle Thomas worked, considering, I don't know if people thought he was going to be this good when he came in, but he has earned every opportunity and gotten better each year?
Well, I think he's worked on one specific thing each summer, and this year was his hands. Think about this. He could be top 2 in the league in scoring if he wasn't struggling so much on breakaways. And it's just something he's working on, and he's gotten better at. It's like, he's going to get it. I mean, he's got the best wheels on the team easily. I mean, even Sid says he wishes he had Kyle's legs. So there's that part of it. And he's just got such a desire to play and hustle, and it's like he's so smooth now, it's like he's hustling, and it doesn't even look like he's hustling,
Mike Gazzola, another name that at the beginning of the year you look at the preseason camp roster and you're like,
I called it.
Did you?
I called it.
You
did. I said
he
he was going to be the guy to look for this year among the rookies.
And it's not like he's just scoring, in baseball, just solo home runs that don't matter. He's scoring goals that matter.
Well, and you figure, okay, Sid's gone. Okay, there goes Gazzola. He's not going to be as good. And I think he proved yesterday he's just as good. Mm-hmm. He's now 8th in the league in scoring, leads all the rookies, and it's so much fun to watch him play because you think, oh, they got him hemmed in. There's no way. And then he's got this amazing touch with his passes where he doesn't even look at a guy and he spots him. How many times has Sid or Mbach scored just driving to the far post off of him? And Kyle, it's like now Kyle's playing with him. And it's like you'd swear he didn't see him, and then he sees him. I mean, he is so much fun to watch him pass. And, we just retired Terry McDougal's number. Mm-hmm. And it's like, that's what I imagined McDougal played like. He was just always right there with the pass, and it's like you just go to the net, and it's going to end up on your stick.
Taking a look at the standings, Toledo first in the Central,
Amazing.
59 points, very good this year. Seems like every year they're very good. They don't really deter from their blueprint, so they've set themselves up for success year in, year out. Tulsa second, 48 points. Obviously, that loss on Friday night certainly didn't help the Komets in that situation. Otherwise, it could have been a flip-flop, but the Komets third at 46 points. When you take a look at the standings, what concerns you going forward the rest of the season? Because Toledo is the team to beat.
Toledo's gone. They're gone.
They're pretty darn good.
They're not catching them. They could lose 3 guys and you're not going to catch them because there's only a couple teams in the league that can really challenge them man up with them. And I think the Komets are one of those. But Toledo does not beat themselves. The Komets beat themselves a lot. I mean, their losses this year, there's so many games where they wish they had it back, you know? And Toledo never has that problem, ever. They don't beat themselves. Jake Patterson has been fantastic. The Spink brothers, the rookies, Tyler and Tyson, have been amazing boosts for them. They are faster. The Walleye are faster than every team in the league, and they don't take penalties. They do not take dumb penalties. They just bait you, and you fall into it, and that's the Komets' problem with them. So the Komets are going to have to figure out a way to beat them in Toledo. And there's only one more regular season game left over there. This is one of those where they made up the schedule before they made up the divisions. And it seems like the Komets never play as much with Toledo as they should, considering they're only 9 miles apart.
Yeah, it feels like they play Quad City with way more frequency.
13 times. Yeah.
And it doesn't equate with Toledo based on
6.
the drive.
Yeah.
So going forward, what do the Komets need to improve on to have the type of season that they want to? I mean, because you take a look at the no affiliation, and yes, they've played well without that because their roster hasn't been as topsy-turvy.
And guys have stepped up.
But what do they do? Because you take a look at it and you say, you know what, it doesn't. How much does the regular season really matter? As long as we get in the playoffs, that's all that matters because the face of this league and the rosters change so much when you get to the postseason. What does it really matter other than it's nice to have a home ice?
It's critical. I mean, think about this. They don't win Game 7 against Cincy if they don't have home ice. Maybe they don't lose against Toledo 2 years ago if they had home ice. They were 3-0 at home and 0-4 on the road. You could argue they had home ice against Allen, but that's a different deal. When it's a team you haven't seen before and their playoff experience and stuff. But I think that a worthy goal for the Komets would be finish second in the conference. And they are right there. They can do that if they get hot and maintain and start playing like they have been the last 15 games or so and maintain that. They can easily finish second in the conference. I don't think they can catch Toledo. They don't have the games against them or the games in hand to do that. And Toledo, like I said, they're not going to beat themselves. So you're going to end up facing Toledo in the second round if you get through the first round. But you have to have home ice against Tulsa if that's who you're going to face in the first round. And it could be. And that was a good game Friday night. And that gives you a hint of how good that playoff series could be. And you're going to need home ice there.
What has impressed you the most? What's the one thing that's impressed you in this first half?
I love watching how, like I said, Jason Binkley, Curtis Leonard, Kyle Thomas, Gazzola. I really respect the way Mason Baptista plays. I really, really like how different guys are busting their rear ends to get better. Gabriel Desjardins, what a steal he's been. He's just getting better. And he's starting to get more offensive opportunities as he showed Sunday. I really enjoy watching those guys operate. It's fun to watch them get better, and they do get better.
Would you describe this as a more blue-collar team than we've seen in years past? No, not so much?
And I'll tell you why. And it should be, but it's not. I mean, a blue-collar team was Tulsa Friday night. They don't have the most talent in the world, but they played their system. They were disciplined, they were smart, and they played hard for 60 minutes. The Komets play hard for 60 minutes once every 2 weeks. A blue-collar team is much more consistent than that. And they know it. That's the worst thing about all this is that they know it. They know in their guts. It's like I talked to guys after the game Friday night, and they say, yeah, Grammer told us what they were going to do. It's like, well, why didn't you listen? Why does he have to beat you guys over the head all the time? And that's the stuff that has to come within the room. Like, I can't tell you how many times I have been at practice, heard Gary talk about, well, you guys got to communicate more back there on defense. You got to back check harder if you're a forward. And it's like, yeah, coach, and then they don't do it. It drives me nuts because everybody thinks, well, why don't they get better at that? Isn't Gary talking about it? Gary talks about it all the flipping time. And they just are not disciplined right now. And that's got to come within the room. That can't come from the coach yelling at you and beating on you all the time. How bad do you want it? And that is something they should have learned last year. How many times did we hear over the summer, well, we're going to not take as many penalties. We're going to learn from that last year. Mm-hmm. They haven't learned a dang thing. They're still doing it. They're still retaliating. They're still having forwards take penalties in the offensive zone. That's not a blue-collar team because blue-collar teams are smarter than that.
Final question going forward, what are you most looking forward to about the second half of the season?
I want to see if they fix that part of it. That's the whole ball game right there, folks. They have the talent to do whatever they choose, whatever they set their goals as, especially with Pat coming back and Cody coming back and, if Sid and those guys come back. Even if they don't, they have enough talent to finish second in the conference right now, as they showed yesterday. But they got to play smarter. They got to play like that, like they played Sunday on Friday and Saturday too, and they didn't do that at all. I really want to see if the discipline part of that comes from within the locker room itself. I don't want to hear it coming from the coach anymore. He said it enough. You guys admitted after games you lose, yeah, we didn't play Komets hockey. It's time to do it. It's time to build those habits and build that routine so that you do it every night. And they haven't done that. That's what I want to see.
All right, we shall see if it does indeed happen. We appreciate the insight from Blake Sebring. Does it for our first edition of Inside the Zone here in 2017. We'll be back next Monday talking more Komets hockey.